things stand with Iran? The U.S. has got sizable military assets.
You know, we have a lot of ships going that direction, just in case. We have a big flotilla going in that direction, and we'll see what happens. We have a big force going toward Iran. I'd rather not see anything happen, but we're watching them very closely.
So as you can see right there, Donald Trump is continuing to threaten military strikes, possibly full-on regime change in Iran, as a large quantity of US forces at great expense are dispatched to the region. Cenk, your 2 cents?
Yeah, so look, when we attack this time, and I think it's gonna be when, we're not sending the USS Abraham Lincoln to have a picnic there. And we'll get to all the facts as to why I think it's going to happen. And Iran this time says we're not gonna just retaliate against Israel. America's attacking us, we're gonna attack back. And when they do, if we lose any soldiers, that is all on Israel's hands. And you should be furious at Israel for getting us into this war, bribing us into this war, manipulating us into this war. We have no business with Iran at all. This is 100% Israel's war that we are being made to fight. So remember that when they strike back.
Yeah, and look, there's probably a lot of people watching that do want intervention on behalf of the protesters. I just want to be very clear. Donald Trump does not give one iota, one quantum of a damn about any of the civilians in Iran. So maybe there's a good consequence that comes out of what he does. Maybe, we'll see, probably not based on his track record.
No chance, there's no chance that it's
gonna be. But that's definitely not why he's doing any of it. And I agree. He's not sending them there just in case. Come on, they're gonna spend billions of dollars on this.
Yeah.
They're going to attack.
So I'll get to my thoughts on Iran as well, but you're worried about protecting the protesters. You're attacking protesters here at home. You're not worried about American protesters. They're getting shot in the head 3 times by your own forces. And you're pretending to care about Iranian protesters? Who thinks that Donald Trump's heart breaks for protesters and that's why he might go to war and not the hundreds of millions of dollars he's gotten from the Israeli lobby? Come on.
So here's what we know right now. So US officials speaking on condition of anonymity say that as we alluded to, the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln and several guided missile destroyers will arrive in the Middle East in the coming days. One official said additional air defense systems were also being eyed for the Middle East, which could be critical to guard against any Iranian strike on US bases in the region. And I will remind you where the scope of this might go. Now, the war that Donald Trump and the Israelis launched last year was supposedly about nuclear weapons. They've moved on from that. They're not even talking about that anymore. That was never the real reason anyway. Now, last weekend, Donald Trump said it's time to look for new leadership in Iran. So they're looking for a full-on change. It's gonna be a full-on regime change thing, probably followed with nation building, all the stuff that supposedly the America First whole thing was against. We'll see. Remember, Pete Hegseth was talking about no more of that type of thing. We'll see in a couple of days or perhaps a week. And Iran, of course, is responding with their own threats. Commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard said the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and Dear Iran have their finger on the trigger, more prepared than ever, ready to carry out the orders and measures of the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, a leader dearer than our own lives. And Iran's foreign minister wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal that said, unlike the restraint Iran showed in June 2025, our powerful armed forces have no qualms about firing back with everything we have if we come under renewed attack. An all-out confrontation will certainly be ferocious and drag on far, far longer than the fantasy timelines that Israel and its proxies are trying to peddle to the White House. And so, I think we've been pretty clear at this point that this is not just a negotiating strategy. This is not just in case. Is there any chance of that, or you think this is a thing of this weekend? This is a thing of a week from now? What do you think?
So look, guys, they said it was about the nukes that didn't exist, just like in Iraq, the weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. So then they got rid of the nukes that didn't exist. Then they want to go to war again. So wait, I thought it was about the nuclear facilities, and Trump said the nuclear facilities were completely destroyed. If you're a cuck for Trump and you believe everything he says, then there is no threat left. Then Israel changed it to, well, Did we say we wanted to attack because of nukes? We meant ballistic missiles, but almost every country has ballistic missiles. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. We want regime change, we want blood, but not ours, of course. Israel's gonna stay on the sidelines, make Americans die for this war, right? And make you spend billions, maybe trillions like we did last time on behalf of Israel to eliminate yet another enemy of Israel. This is all about Israel. Zero American interest in this, none. Zero. No one has ever said anything about American interest. They don't even bother. They're just like, well, obviously we have to murder them and decapitate their regime and change it and put in a shah, a king, etc., a dictator, and of course that will help Israel. Well, where does it help us? Why doesn't Israel go fight its own war? In fact, as you're about to see, Israel's a little worried that they might get struck in this attack. They're like, America, you do it, you do it, you do it, okay? Here's some bribes, here's extortion, here's Jeffrey Epstein, you do it, okay? And they're like, oh no, they might hit Israel. Well, then don't start the war, problem solved. So why do they want regime change, guys? Guys, they're never going to stop until they get regime change. It isn't about the missiles or the nukes or the protesters in the streets. Israel just slaughtered 70,000 people in the streets. You think they care about people dying? Israel's heart is so broken over Muslims being killed in the streets. How can you say that with a straight face when every Israel supporter was like 20,000 children dead? Well, I love it. They deserved it, they had it coming. They're all stupid Muslims waiting to be terrorists. That's why we murdered their children. Yes, they say, right? Then they're like, oh, we're so heartbroken about Muslim protesters being killed in Iran. No, so why do they want regime change? Because they don't want democracy. What if the protests work? Because there's two different things, guys, super important. Israel's hiding as usual behind human shields. Those are the Iranian protesters, right? There are real protesters who are mad about what's going on in Iran. And those guys, and the Ayatollah is not somebody that anyone is in favor of in America, right? And it's a dictatorship. So there's a real issue about Iran, their internal politics, and who should rule Iran. Israel's like, oh great, let's take advantage of that. But we don't actually want the protesters winning, because if they win, they might get a democracy, and a democracy in Iran might be even more hostile to Israel than the Ayatollah was. Because the Ayatollah cares about his own ass, so when he thought he might die, he was like, and he backed off a little bit, right? Yeah. But in a democracy, they might go more against Israel, so they don't want that. So that is why you're seeing all over American media, this clown, the Shah that they're parading around with a red nose. Don't forget, Noble Mobile saving you a ton of money. So a lot of people are signing up now and beginning to realize, what the hell, why am I paying so much to Verizon and AT&T? So your bill's only $50 a month, but it can actually be less because they give you money back if you don't use your data. So if you're paying more than $50, there's no reason to not switch. It's crazy not to switch because same phone, same number, same contacts, literally nothing changes. TYT.com/switch, TYT.com/switch. All right, we'll be right back. Hello, I'm the Shah Jr. I used to be the dictator's son. And Israel wants me to be the new dictator, so I'm gonna be the new Shah. And we think Americans don't understand what the word Shah means, so that's why we keep using it, Shah. Shah just means king, which means dictator. By the way, he went and kissed the wall, and he went to Israel, the Shah that they wanna install, and he said, I'll serve Israel, of course. So that this war is 1000% for Israel.
And that is why, like when I point out that the motivations are they don't actually care, that's not just like a side point. That has to do with the outcome that you'll have. And this is not purely hypothetical. We've already seen it in Venezuela. They took out the leadership, so now democracy? No, no democracy. No, they get someone that serves them and primarily serves American business interests. Yeah, Maduro sucked. The replacement, is that gonna be better for the people of Venezuela? Maybe, I guess roll the dice, but there's no guarantee. And certainly it is not up to them. There's no self-determination here where they get to choose, and there is no reason to believe that that is the case or that will be the case in Iran. And I actually do care about them. If I could press a button and yeet the entire regime into the sun and have it be replaced by actual democracy in Iran, I would do that. Because I do actually care about them, but I don't trust Donald Trump. I certainly don't trust Netanyahu to actually allow them to choose what happens to them. It'll be a different form, and we'll see. That said, do you want to move on to the other war that we might soon be launching? Okay, or do you want to talk about the death toll?
Yeah, so last quick thing here, guys. So you're seeing tons of propaganda from the Israelis / CBS. Oh, 12,000 died, 20,000 died, that's made up. It looks like though about 5,000 have died, but what you might not know, okay, and it's very hard to get information, and I condemn the Iranian government for the killings, I condemn the Iranian government for running a dictatorship in the first place, and I condemn them for shutting off the internet, just like Israel has, kills the journalists so nobody can see the genocide in Gaza. Iran is shutting off the power and the journalists, etc., so no one can see what they're doing. But also, Mossad and Israel has bragged about how they have provocateurs in the streets, and they are actively causing violence, killing the security forces so that there's a bigger bloodbath, so they could use it as an excuse to attack Iran. And so, but most importantly for us back here in America, okay, if you think there's never going to be a cost, and a lot of MAGA's riding high thinking, oh, we keep doing all these bombings and we never lose anybody. First of all, it costs tons of money, and the media never tells you about that, because beloved Israel must be protected and all of our money must be spent on behalf of Israel. So shh, Jake Tapper will never tell you all the money we spend fighting these wars for Israel. But on top of that, of course there's gonna be a cost. Are you crazy? You think that we're gonna go into war after war, bombing after bombing, and we're never gonna lose anyone? And the minute we lose someone, they're gonna say we have to go deeper into war. That's the trick every single time. Please don't fall for it. And every American soldier that dies is on Israel's hands, okay? Because there's no one in America that wants this war other than Israel first.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad things that could happen, but thankfully what's never happened before is that we go into a country, kill the regime, replace it with someone that the people didn't choose, and then a year or 10 years or 20 years later, that produces a new revolutionary movement or terrorist groups. That's never happened, at least.
Yeah, I mean, look at how brazen they are. Last time we did this, we did a coup in 1953 against Iran, and eventually we imposed the Shah, right? And then that led to the Ayatollah and the Islamic Revolution. So now our new genius idea is, let's install his son. That's just gonna repeat the cycle. If you don't like Islamic extremism, you would never put a Shah in charge of Iran. But they don't mind any of that because it's more excuses. So Israel can go, oh, Islamic extremism. Oh, we're the only democracy in the Middle East. Why? They love the dictators. They imposed half the dictators in the Middle East on those Arab countries. Those are puppets for Israel. Half of those leaders in the Middle East totally and utterly work for Israel, and Israel loves that they're dictators because they suppress their own people on behalf of Israel. And that's what they would love to do to Iran, a dictatorship run by Israel. I have no interest in a dictatorship from the Ayatollah, and I have no interest in a dictatorship from Israel. Free Iran, and that does not mean bomb them and kill them. It means actually encourage in other ways, peaceful ways, diplomatic ways, economic ways, for democracy to bloom in Iran. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.